So, welcome back, everyone. We have another great show with our special guest, Gus. He owns a company called PlanLife USA. How you doing this morning, Gus?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for asking, man. So, just so for our listeners to know, in today's episode, we're going to dive into the minds of successful business owners such as yourself, and we're
Yep.
going to discover everyone has an aha moment, right? When you're doing business, it's always there. It comes out, and we're going to also talk about key decisions and the drive that drives your success. Um,
Yep.
with that being said, if you find this content helpful, please feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Gus is also going to provide at the end some feedback for those who are aspiring entrepreneurs that want to get advice of
Yeah.
looking to become a business owner, regardless of what industry. And I'm sure he can share that wealth of knowledge with our listeners as well. So, with that being
Yes,
said,
sir.
let's dive right in, Gus, and learn a little bit
Let's
about your background.
let's do it. Let's do it. Thanks for having me again, Didier.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. So professionally, the insurance business, insurance industry, people don't wake up in the morning wanting to get into the insurance business. Most of the people that I meet that are successful in our business, what we do, are basically stumbling into it, and that's really what happened to me and many of the people that are successful in this industry. I More than 21 years ago or so, I earned my MBA. I quit my job to sort of burn my bridges to dedicate myself to find a career path for myself, and was recruited by American Express at that time. American Express had a financial planning division other than their card and travel division, and they did fee-based planning and investment planning, as well as insurance planning as a protection plan around your investments and your retirement goals and so on and so forth. Well, I fell in love with the insurance side, and the reason I fell in love with that is because it's fascinating. We promise people, Didier, that one day, and especially on the life side, when they're not there anymore, that they'll trust us, that we will take care of their loved ones and will pay off the benefit on the life insurance side. And it fascinated me, the trust that people put in you in order to do that. It requires a lot of confidence and trust that you'll be able to be there when they're not there anymore. I enjoyed that the most. I enjoyed the relationship, and I dove right into it, and I built my career through it. I moved to MetLife after American Express, but then after about 15 years or so of working for a Fortune 500 company or a couple, I was done with it. I appreciated it. I always say the learning process through working with these companies was better than my MBA and undergraduate degree. But at the end of the day, you're really working for somebody else, and it's about time to jump off and build something for yourself that you can invest in and do something that is different. But it has to be the right time. So that led me to where we are today at PlanLife. Opened the company about 8 years ago, and here we are, 8 years after, having a podcast on a Thursday morning with you and talking about what went wrong, what went right, and what we learned, and why we're here.
I love your attitude, man. It is
Yeah.
contagious, right? Congratulations for what has brought you up to 8 years with Plan Life Insurance. So
Yeah.
let's kind of dig deep a little bit into that. I know when I was looking at your website in terms of the products you offer, from business owner policies to life
Yep.
insurance, auto insurance, home insurance, commercial properties. So you basically pretty much do it all when it comes to offering insurance to your customers.
100%. More than doing it all, keeping options open for the clients.
I like that better.
And
Yes.
yeah, I do specialize. We have people at the agency that specialize with the homeowner side, with the auto side. But we are first and foremost a family owned. Actually, my wife works with me, my kids work with me, and the rest of the team I consider as family as well. We run it as a family business. But what we wanted to do from day one, which is when you open an agency like ours, which is property and casualty agency, you can make one or two decisions. You can work with a multi-billion-dollar company that spends billions of dollars on advertisement that most of us would probably know if I mentioned their name.
Right.
But you become a captive to them. Basically, you're a distribution center for them. You're a retailer for their products, and somebody's telling you at some point, good or bad, that this is the product that we're going to sell next month, and so let's go out there and find clients for it. We reversed that. We basically went out, opened a company called PlanLife that only myself and my wife knew of. That's how basically we started, and built it from the ground up, which is the hardest thing to do when you open an agency or a business like this. But on the long term, it is the best position you want to put yourself in, yourself and your clients, to create success and protect your clients. Because I'm not working for somebody, I'm working for my clients. I'm fiduciary on my insurance carriers product and making sure that the products are implemented the right way and underwriting starts with us. But I have a lot of carriers, a lot of markets, a lot of products that can fit different clients at different places. And so that is really what created the difference between us and other people. So yeah, we do have a lot of products, but it's like going to Publix. You probably have your favorite cheese or favorite soda. You're not going to pick every soda that's out there. The
Right.
key is when you go in there, do you have different options at different prices with different taste? And that's what we created here at Plan Life.
Well, it's interesting you say that, you kind of bring the analogy of a grocery store, and then you talk about the different products and then different things that people offer, are wanting. It's based on their specific need. And I think you
100%.
you you'll sit there and you'll talk to your potential client and you'll ask them certain questions that will identify exactly where they need to be when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
protecting themselves with insurance. So kudos for you for being able to stay consistent, right? And
Thank you.
developing a methodology that will get to your client's needs at the end of the rainbow. So I think
Right.
that's phenomenal,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate it.
are there any trends that are shaping your industry right now that you can share with our listeners? Anything that stands out?
Of course, I mean, the traditional way of buying insurance has been tossed out of the window. People, I think about 70+% of consumers start online when they look for insurance. So they're not knocking on a door, they're not walking to a retail shop. They're getting educated, which is great, finding what their options are, and hopefully we'll be able to assist them in the process and help them stay, coping with technology and getting their solutions, but also working with a human that cares and provides them the service that they deserve. So a lot of the products which become really a commodity, basic auto insurance, you can buy online. You really don't need me to buy the product. Now, are you buying the right coverage? Are you getting the right advice? Are they going to be there when you open a claim? Is the service going to be the same? Obviously not. And I always say, we're really not in the insurance business. We're in the people's business. And what I mean by that is really you can buy my product anywhere else. We represent carriers that are Main Street carriers, that are national carriers, strong carriers, but they're not exclusive to Plan Life. They're working with everybody else. The reason hundreds and hundreds of people choose us is because of the difference. So because of that, and because we knew that those basic commodities, the products like auto, are being really sought online, and consumers are buying and trading them and selling them online in terms of firing that one carrier and getting to another one because of price, we specialize. So I specialize on the commercial side. When you get complex on the commercial side, you really need to work with an agent. You can't just buy it online. It's not going to happen. Like if you get a gas station that needs pollution policy for its tanks underground, and you need canopy insurance for its canopies and pumps, and you
Mhm.
have liquor liability inside, you're not going to go online and put those things together and buy it. You would need an agent like ours. So specialty is the key to succeeding in our business.
I love that, and you bring up the commercial property insurance, and you're absolutely right because it is so complex, right?
Mhm.
So that you actually need to work and sit down with your client and actually educate. I think that's the huge word in
Mhm.
this conversation. Educate
Right.
your client, regardless of what insurance policy they're looking for, but especially on the commercial side. So good point on that as well.
Yep. Yep.
Um, we talked about things that set you apart from your competitors, and it's educating, it's holding their hand, it's being able to be not one of the bigger companies. It's that personal touch. And I
Right.
think that's so important what you've kind of shared with our listeners as well. There are listeners here that are looking to possibly become aspiring entrepreneurs, right? And we we know how that goes. And so,
Yep.
they're sitting on the fence. They're like deciding, Gus, give me some advice. Give me a little bit of advice on possibly starting a business.
Great question. I'm not special. We're not different. The only thing that I had in me that made me make the decision that I made and jump ship and open my own small shop, and it's nothing special of a shop. It's a small business that really day in and day out helps clients trying to protect what matters most to them. Is there are really two things, and your emotions will drive you in those situations, right? One is fear. As you know, I'm about 50 years old at this point, and I saw at some point what working for somebody else can potentially do to you, and it scared the hell out of me. And I saw
Mm,
so much, those days of working 40 years old for a company, getting your pension and retiring, are done. We all know that they've been done for a while.
right.
Um, but it surprises me every time I try to recruit an agent for sales at the company. The first thing they'll say, I need a base salary. And that really surprises me, because if you're a great sales agent, you don't need that salary. You can go out there and make the money. And income in our business is perpetual, which means you can get a raise every single day. While working for somebody else and getting a base salary, you can beg for a raise every single day, but good luck getting it at least once a year.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point.
yeah, so when people fear opening their own business, it's the fear of the unknown. But if they really look at it, I would be more fearful of being where I am. Now, I'm not saying employment is a bad thing. I have people working for me at this office. There, at some point in your career, maybe early on, maybe in your 20s, it's great to work for somebody. I told you, working for Amex was the biggest blessing that I had in terms of learning how to open my own business. Had I opened my business 20 some years ago without working for Amex, probably I would have, stumbled on my head,
Hmm.
on my face, and didn't succeed. So you need to work for somebody, but make it worth it. Don't just seek that salary at the end of the month. Learn so you can at the end become somebody that works on their own. And I would fear more staying working for somebody versus going out on your own, because so many great things can happen. And I always tell people, what's the worst thing that can happen? If you are working for somebody, you go out on your own and it doesn't work, you are employable. You could continue to be employable. So that's really the basic thing. No, don't fear change. I would fear more the resisting the change, and that's really where people can miss out, really missing on the opportunity.
That's great advice. And another thing that when I talk to a lot of business owners doing these podcasts, it's always one thing that's in common. And it's like their experience over the many years has led them to become basically an expert, and they love what they do, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
become work, it becomes
Yep.
fun.
Well,
And
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
so that is so inspiring to be able to enjoy what you
Yeah.
do and be able to help those that need your services. So
Yep.
again, kudos, to you for
Thanks.
having that mindset is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up here, can you give our listeners a way to get a hold of you, whether it's your phone number, your website?
Yeah. So we're local here. We're in Orlando, right outside of Dr. Phillips and Metro West, off of Turkey Lake and Conroy. You can come here and find us, please. Would love to have people over to visit us, chat with us, whether they want to explore getting into the business, which we would love to mentor and help, or seek advice on a commercial policy or a personal policy or life insurance policy. You can also call us at 407-557-3100, or find us online at planlifeusa.com. Either way, we're happy to help. You can chat, call, whatever you want to do. We're here to help.
Guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with our listeners how successful, or how you define success, learning about your business and the offerings that you offer as well. And we wish you the much success in the future as well.
Thank you, Dieter. I appreciate you having me over.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to First Media Consulting Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe today. To nominate a business you would like to recommend to be on our show, go to firstmediaconsulting.com or call. Thank you for listening.